We had a client that did cold and flu items, but then there was allergy season. So they would switch their content during allergy season to allergy messaging, right? So like slight differences in the creatives and slight differences in the copy. And that's how they would focus on like pure allergy season. Benefits and emotive driven, and then problem solution style language. So if you're doing TikTok and you're realizing that people are talking about the problems and the solution that they found on TikTok, bring that language into your listing. Let's talk about the advanced stuff. So again, it's research and ideate your designs, then do the external testing with something like PickFu, then iterate on your design, then do the internal testing on manager experiments, then go live with wins, but then repeat. This is the only difference, repeat in this step. So what do we want to do? First, we want to lay out some kind of image testing plan for our team so that they know like, this is what we're testing. Ask your agency to create this for you. You know, like, what are you guys testing? Let us know if you need assets from us. These tests should be going on monthly. So I'm going to share some wins that are easiest to hardest, in my opinion, and where I would start and end. So starting with messaging, ending with brand stories. So, and again, only test one thing at a time. If you have split up parent ASINs, you can test across multiple ASINs at a time, but on one listing, you want to be testing one thing at a time. You can test on your variations in addition to your parent at the same time. Just make sure it's the same thing that you're testing. Okay, and the key to all of this, especially with the A+ content, is that you're designing in a modular way. So landing page style allows you to move things around so much easier and not have to redesign stuff. So when you're designing, design for that landing page style that we talked about. The first thing is messaging. Can we say it a different way? Can we use emotive language? Can we say it in a benefits-driven way? Like what are the things that we can do just with our language, just with our copy? Can we say it in a different order? Can we say less versus saying more? Is it a technical product? Do we need to say more? Yes or no? These are all questions to get the wheel spinning that you can think through and develop tests around. We had a client that they sold like cold and flu items, but then there was allergy season. So they would switch their content during allergy season to allergy messaging, right? So like slight differences in the creatives and slight differences in the copy. And that's how they would focus on like pure allergy season. Benefits and emotive driven, and then problem solution style language. So if you're doing TikTok and you're realizing that people are talking about the problems and the solution that they found on TikTok, bring that language into your listing. We have a case study that we just released with Jayu, and this is the only thing they did was just changing the language of which keywords, how they were using their keywords in their language. And it completely changed their listing. So that case study is on our site too. Changing the sequence order. So what order matters to shoppers? I talked about primary and secondary content, right? So if we think about this, you can move 2 and 4 around, you can move 5 and 3 around because it's modular content. You can also move so this is how it would look if you did just swap it around, right? That took 2 seconds, and then that's a new test. And something like that, imagine if you're doing that with a video. If you had your video at the very bottom of your A+ content, you move it up to the top, does your conversion rate change? Maybe. Here, this secondary content, what if we move it to the front? Does it matter? How do we know which order we should be uploading this content? Like, how do we know truly like what's the primary content for our A+ content? So I wanted to test this with IntelliV's tool. Actually, I did this with Product Pinion, I believe. Let me see. So problem solution is on the left versus comfort in the middle versus function on the right. So this was moving this carousel, what I would call secondary content, to the front, saying like, does certain messaging matter more to the customer? Problem, solution, or comfort, or function? What do you guys think? Pick a letter and let's see which one won. And really what we're trying to do here is understand like which order should we be uploading in, right? Okay, so in this case, we're looking at B being, good job guys. B being the primary favorite, not statistically significant, but it's 40, 30, 20. So for me, I would upload in that order, right? And I'd probably add more votes to this to get a higher significance on here. Module type. So for us, we're really using just 2 or 3 module types. What you're gonna get in this, at the very end of this presentation, is like, I have a swipe file with over 150, it's probably 200 examples of main images, product images, A+ content that you can download. And in there is a video training of the exact modules that we use and the exact framework for building our A+ content, broken down by module. So you can literally take that. It has a video and everything to give to your designer. So some things we like to think about: with and without carousels, with and without hotspots, always video, but how much and where, and then what type of comparison table if you have a family of product that you're trying to cross-sell. color and style. So believe it or not, this is like literally the exact same content that we built for the brand, but we were like, can we play with a different aesthetic? Can we push this brand into the modern day, or do they want to stay in their traditional ways? And we kind of showed them two options to see like, where do you want to go in the future with this? Do you want to stick to your tried and true branding, or do you want to move? And this is an easy test that you guys can do. And ultimately, sometimes these kinds of tests are up to the brand owner, not up to us, even though we show the data. So there's that. This is a fun one. Also kind of easy, right? So like, how else can we show this concept? Can we change the models? Should we have more humans or more cats? I did a post on this today, actually, or yesterday. So if we're doing product-centric versus brand-centric cross-selling, here's a quick redesign of this, right? So because it's modular, again, just move some things around, and we have humans versus cats. So if you look at the one on the left, we have a couple of humans, a couple of cats, basically the same messaging though. And the one on the right, no humans, we have a human hand. We have a family of product at the top, right? So which one do you guys think won? We're gonna say this one's A and that one's B. So cats win. We should have known cats win. But here's the interesting thing about this. It wasn't about the cats or the humans. It was about the family of product. That won people over because it conveyed trust. They felt like it was a brand that they could go to with all of their problems and they're gonna find a solution, right? And so they feel like it's a more established brand. It's a brand I can trust. They must be good because they have so many products. They must be. So 75%, right? This one was done with IntelliVie with their A+ tool. Storefront. I could do an entire talk on storefronts, which we'll do next year. But this one, the biggest takeaway for me is really just focusing on these 5 concepts. So I'm not gonna get too heavy into storefronts, but simple navigation. A lot of times we go into storefronts and there's just way too much and you're gonna lose the customer, right? We have their full attention, let's get them to buy. The second thing is making sure it's mobile friendly. Oftentimes you look at the designs and they weren't designed for mobile whatsoever. So check your designs on mobile for your storefront. That's where some of your Google traffic is going, so make sure you're checking that. The third thing is everything above the fold matters most, right? So are we putting your best sellers there, or are we doing a different strategy there? Know what that strategy is, ask your agency what that is, and know what you're going for above the fold. Product placement, how are we structuring the product placement throughout? How are we making it really easy for people to know what it is we're selling? What are the flavors? What are the categories? Make it super, super, super simple. And then storytelling throughout is a big win. Okay, so here's how we're disrupting, and then we're gonna get into activities. So 3 ways that we're disrupting with AI today. We're disrupting ourselves. So 1, we're doing rapid concepting in ChatGPT or with a tool that I'm gonna share with you to come up with quick concepts that we can hand off to our designers. We actually just put something very similar to this live for YesBar a couple weeks ago. We're still waiting to see the data conclusively, but it's the first time we took something that was almost all generated by AI and still fine-tuned with some things by the human touch. But our designers kind of used that for inspiration. They designed like 6 or 10 more, and we still went back to this one. We were like, let's test this one. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there with main images. The second thing is using AI imagery that you're seeing now with ChatGPT in multiple different ways. So we don't use ChatGPT for this, but there's 3 ways that you can use images. Like we've been doing images like this for like over a year. These were all generated with AI and polished with humans. So there's nothing that was 100% like ready to go with AI. Like it almost always has to be fine-tuned with human touch. So 1, for clients that don't have budget, we're able to replace a photo shoot. For clients that don't have time, we start here and then they can replace with the photo shoot once they get the photo shoot. For clients that already shot their photos and went through a rebrand and they just need to change out packaging, you can easily do modifications with AI. And then if there's stock imagery that we really, really love, but we want to make it more branded, we can make those alterations with AI. Those are 3 really interesting use cases. They all help us fill in the gaps. So we're not using one for everything. We're kind of figuring out what the scenario is, trying to use as much of what the brand has, and then fill in the blanks where we need to tell that visual story. And this is the one that's the most exciting for me. So in the past, we've turned away a ton of business. As an agency, obviously, that does this type of work, there's a lot of bigger companies, some of the biggest in the world, that approach us and say, can you do this for us, but can you do it for pennies? And we're like, no, we will be working till the end of time and we don't like pennies. So we have turned that business away. And now with AI, we're at a point where we can say, okay, we can actually create the custom thing that we do so well, and we can train the AI to replicate this in minutes and seconds. So we had a client that came to us right before Q4, and they needed to scale a couple thousand SKUs, and they didn't have much time to do it. So we said, let's do it. And we created, actually almost the entire listing was very, very well done AI. And then we basically scaled it out in 2 weeks across thousands of SKUs. And that would have never been possible. Like, I think he said they spent months the year before, like 3 months, like uploading, figuring out the issues with the uploading, editing the designs, making sure all the details are right. Something wasn't right. They had to fix the thing that wasn't right. Then they had to do it on thousands of ASINs. Then they had to do another bulk upload. Imagine going through that and what a pain that is. And now we can solve that with AI. So this is the exciting thing for me, is scaling catalogs. I think this is where we're leaning into in the future. And this is the way that I want to disrupt ourselves.